see your guys' faces on an evening night. And hi, Patrice. Oh my gosh, she's got her puppies too. I love it. And you too for this portion of it. We have Miss Ina here. She's with me tonight.
Oh, so pretty.
But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. So Talk, Listen, and Share is a Shays Warriors Learn and Educate group. We learn from people in our community, from ourselves as survivors, and from guest speakers outside the community. It is, hang on one sec, I had some notes. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of nervous. You guys ever get that way? Nervous at all? No, probably not, right?
Sure, totally.
But yeah, so Shays Warriors Life After Cancer is a community that strives to give back to women who have gone through breast and other related reproductive cancers throughout the valley. So that's our mission is Mind Body Connection, which is this is one of our educational Talk, Learn, and Listens group, which is primarily hosted by Rosemary Flannery, who is on here right now. She was the breast navigator at Eisenhower's Lucy Curti Cancer Center for a long time and is currently happily retired. She just got back from lavender fields today, so that's another story. And Dr. Sonia Fung, our naturopathic doctor from the Live Well Clinic in La Quinta. So they host this group twice a month. Our group one runs the second and the fourth Wednesday of the month, every month from 5:30. It is always a complimentary group, and we're always going to be giving stuff back, like educational stuff or talks. We want to keep things very fresh and very fun. But stuff that relates to life after cancer, right? And there will also be stuff that relates to if you are going through cancer. This group is for everybody, men and women. So it's something that we're just excited to kind of kick off. This is our fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh class, I think. So we've been 7 times, and we've just opened it up to everybody in the public. So that is a little bit about what Shays is and what our mission is and what this group is about. So if you know anyone who wants to join us, we'll have some lot of fun topics. You can follow us on Facebook, or if you don't have Facebook, you don't use that, I know some of you don't, go ahead and sign up under the shayswarriors.org website under community, our newsletter, and you'll get the information that way too. And there's lots of cool stuff on the Shays Warriors website that is complimentary. So utilize that. Music, podcasts, blogs, really cool information, some of this stuff as well. Tonight I want to introduce Dr. Sonia Fung. Like I said, she's with the Live Well Clinic. She's a naturopathic doctor, one of the best. As far as I'm concerned, I'm a little biased. She's also a board member of Shays Warriors. And her mission and my mission is very similar. That's why we had connected. We've known each other since about 2008, I believe, prior to my breast cancer. And I'm gonna let her take it over from here. At the end of the night, we will be giving something away. So if you can stick around, we're gonna draw your name out of a hat. So whoever participates tonight, please feel free to share and as much as you want, or just hang out and listen. That's what it's all about. Thank you so much. And go ahead, take it over, Sonia.
Right. So the reason why I'm like crouched down like this is because my some of the features on Zoom aren't quite working right now. So we've jerry-rigged my desk to do a presentation for tonight. And so I'm just going to introduce myself real quick, and then I'm going to switch to my back camera so I can actually sit up, and we'll do a presentation, or I'll go through my PowerPoint at that time. So I am Dr. John Fung, and I own Live Well Clinic here in La Quinta. I primarily do a lot of adjunctive and integrative cancer care, and also pain management, joint regeneration and rejuvenation without surgery. So there's a couple really fun things that I enjoy doing every day. Tonight, what we're going to talk about is thriving after cancer, healing your gut with diet, and talking about what creates an inflamed gut, and also what helps to repair and restore your digestive system, which is really the core of your body's health. So let me switch cameras and we'll get to it. There we go. Woohoo! Oh, all right. Gotta stretch out for a second. Hold on. All right. Okay. Does everybody see my PowerPoint there? Can everybody see it? Okay. Great. Thank you. So talk, listen, share with Shay and my clinic. Let's see if it goes. Let's see if it goes. There we go. All right. Hold on. Okay. Can you still see it? I know, it's hard to read. So most people don't really know what a naturopathic doctor is. I get a lot of like weird looks when I introduce myself. So a naturopathic doctor is a holistic primary care doctor. Mainly we do family medicine, and there are certain specialties, fields that we can go into, mine being oncology and pain management. What I typically use as my treatment protocols are nutrition, diet, lifestyle, lots of botanical medicine and herbs. I do hormone balancing as well, using bioidenticals, and then vitamins and supplements as needed. And oftentimes it's a lot of general lifestyle counseling and coaching and cheerleading for my patients. And that's really our role in my patients' health, especially when it comes to patients that are going through cancer. Tonight, I'm just going to really focus on what we do to help restore health after cancer. But there's a lot that we can do during cancer as well. So what I typically, okay, hold on. Can you all see that? There we go. So that says shoring up your pillars of health. And what are your pillars of health? So to me, there are three main pillars that make up health in general. The first one is food or fuel. Like, what do you put in your body? How do you nourish your body? Second is exercise. How do you move your body? And that stress response and stress, stress, what's the word? Stress release is part of exercise, and digestion, how you detox your body. And that's, we're going to be focusing mostly on digestion and food for tonight. Okay. Okay, what that says is inflamed gut. And it is a picture of your gut lining. It's a cross section of your gut lining. Here, We're going to do this. Okay, so this is a picture of of an inflamed digestive system where here's your mucosal layer. These are all your like gut bacteria and food particles and your immunoglobulins and whatnot. Here's your mucosal layer, this kind of bluish type of a layer. And when your gut is inflamed, that mucosal layer gets reduced and depleted over time. And these cells right there, this kind of like capillary looking thing, these cells are called your tight junctions. And this is what lines the inside of your colon, your intestines. So these little like finger-like extensions help to gather and absorb and pull nutrients into your blood system, which feeds your body. So when there's a lot of inflammation, this nice normal normal gut barrier, these tight junctions start to break down, and your body then allows, or well, has to deal with all of this extra like inflammatory markers, antigens, bacteria, like leaking into your cells and leaking into your bloodstream. And that's when you get more inflammation. Your body starts to react against foreign objects, foreign protein into your blood, and that's when you see these types of negative GI responses, such as bloating and digestive upset and constipation or diarrhea, heartburn, and arthritis, headaches, lots of food sensitivities or food allergies. All of that is created or symptoms of an inflamed gut. So we want to restore your gut so that all of these tight junctions are healthy and intact. There's no leakage. There's a nice tight, like thick mucosal barrier to protect your cells. That's what we want to get your gut back to. And sometimes that takes a long time, because a lot of people have inflamed guts for decades, and it gets through treatment, and especially chemotherapy and sometimes radiation. One of the main side effects is digestive issues, and that inflammation has a negative impact on your healthy gut and your healthy gut barrier. And unfortunately, that is what we're fighting against. And we're trying to gear our treatment protocols to help to restore and shore up your healthy gut barrier. So how do we do that? Okay. Can you guys still see that? There we go. Okay. 4 R's to heal your gut. So first one is to remove harmful and inflammatory foods. And most of the time what that means is it's mostly sugars, or it could be grains, especially gluten grains. It could be different types of protein that your body is not responding well to. It could be combinations of foods that your system doesn't like. So figuring out what those inflammatory foods are for you is number one in helping to restore your gut lining. Secondary to that is we have to get that nice thick mucosa barrier back. So it helps to protect and nourish your tight junctions and your digestive lining cells. And the good thing about this is your body can restore healthy cells. It can repair itself. It might take a while, but it can, especially your gut lining, it does repair within 3 to 6 to 9 months. So it just depends on how dedicated you are to it, and the more dedicated you are to sticking with reducing inflammation and restoring your gut lining, the faster your body heals. The next part of it is to rev up digestive power. What that means is to that you have to get your digestive enzymes
Where you want to be?
working well as well. Are people all on mute? Can I mute people? I'm going to mute people. Okay, there we go. So oftentimes when we have a leaky gut barrier, your body is also not producing enough of your digestive enzymes to help break down the foods that you're eating. So a lot of people get like heartburn or reflux, and the first thing they go to are antacids or like acid blockers. And what that does is it actually, in my clinical experience, it makes things worse, because then you don't have enough, you're already not having enough. And then now you're suppressing the natural ability for your body to fight off and break down your foods and to kill bacteria that might be hidden in your foods. So if you don't have enough digestive enzymes, the food just kind of sits in your stomach. And when it sits in your stomach, it kind of ferments, so you get that bloating, and then it also irritates your lower esophageal sphincter. And then so your sphincter starts spasming, and when it starts to spasm, it allows the stomach acid and the undigested food to regurge back up. And then you get heartburn, and you're like, oh, I need to have more, like I need to suppress my acid even more. And it's not the acid's fault. You actually need more digestive enzymes to help break down the food, so that the food doesn't just sit like rocks in your stomach and irritate your stomach lining. So it's actually like you have to think about it in a different way, almost like a backwards way. So you have to break down the food. The food has to empty out of your stomach so it does not irritate the stomach lining or your sphincter, holding your esophageal, the lower portion of your esophagus closed so that you don't have reflux. Does that make sense to people? Nods, I see nods. Okay, awesome. So as long as you have enough digestive enzymes, then you can activate your the enzymes farther along in your digestive system. So the stomach acid, if you have enough stomach acid, that will then trigger and all the rest of your digestive enzymes down the line. So that the rest of your digestive enzymes down the line in your small intestines helps you continue to break down proteins and fats and carbohydrates. And so you need all of those different components to help break down your food, so that your intestine, those intestinal cells can absorb those foods. If your intestinal cells don't absorb the foods, and these larger food protein chunks can escape through your intestinal lining cells, then what it does is it triggers your body's immune response. And when your body's immune response happens, then it creates this inflammatory response against these undigested protein food particles. So you're triggering more inflammation if you cannot properly digest your food. So it's kind of this like, it's this kind of unfortunately downward spiral that we have to stop. And the last R that we're talking about is regular elimination. So as a naturopathic doctor, I talk a lot about poop, and because poop is very important on, it is a very good scale on how healthy your digestive system is, right? And people are like, I'm like, well, what does your poop look like? What color is it? And they're like, I don't even look. So, and that's, then I make them look. And so, and they have to give me a poop log. So, what typically your poop needs to look like is, there's actually a chart. So let's see if I can get this chart up. So this chart is called the Bristol Stool Scale, and it talks about all the different types of poop there is, all the way from like constipation, little like pellets, to watery diarrhea. So you want to be this type 4, nice, ideal, smooth, banana shaped, like sausage shaped poop. Shay, you're just enjoying this way too much. So that is your ideal poop. And I did tell you I'm going to talk about poop. So you need to have regular ideal poops every single day. I don't know how to express that enough. There are a lot of people out there who think having a bowel movement twice a week is normal. Right. I see your face, Patricia. You're like, no. No, 1 to 2 times a day should be the norm. 1 to 2 times a day. And especially in the desert, it is a little bit difficult to keep hydrated. We are talking about a older population as well. So there's a lot of other things that go into regular bowel movements that we'll talk briefly about today. But I just really wanted to focus on these 4 things that are the keys to healing your digestive system. So we're going to talk next about diets. Okay, this is going to be hard to read, so I'll read it for you. It says, if food products were honestly labeled, and on the shelf it says cheese food, ? Chemical helper, artery clogger, heart disease spread, zero nutrition puffs, diabetes for sure soda drinks, and colon cancer logs, and ADHD flakes. So there's a lot in our food nowadays that aren't really that great for us, but it's super convenient. And I think that unfortunately we have to get away from the convenience model and into a clean foods model in order to prioritize our health. And I know for a lot of working people and people who don't cook, it's difficult, but it is not impossible. And it's just all about training. And if you can train and learn new things, you can do this for sure. And if you do have digestive issues, this should be your priority. Let's see, this one's also a little bit more difficult to read. It says, there is a guy at a fast food joint and he says, I'll have the half-pound double deluxe bacon steer burger, please. And the cashier says, do you want chemotherapy with that? I'm not trying to be crass. I'm not trying to downplay chemo, but because we know it is important, it's an important part of saving people's lives. But food really does, food is medicine. And if you're not focusing on what you're putting in your body, you're feeding it poison 3 or more times a day. So think about it that way. Flip it around. We're going to talk about foods, especially when you are there's a little variation when you are going through chemo and treatment versus when you are now in recovery post-treatment. When you are in treatment, you want to make sure that you have enough protein on a daily basis, because you don't want to become cachectic. You want to maintain your lean body mass. But when you are out of treatment and out of like past chemotherapy, you may not need as much protein as during treatment. So we also want to look at the types of foods as well. Like, is the food organic? Is it from local farms? Is it free range? Is it grass fed? What types of fat profiles does it have? There are some people who are sensitive to red meats that should not be eating beef or lamb, but instead focusing on fish, because that is healthier for their digestive system. There's a lot of different nuances depending, which is, patient specific. But in general, what I want to impart tonight is you really want a well-rounded diet that is very colorful. You want to make sure that you are mostly eating green leafies. You want to make sure that you're eating high quality, healthy fats, such as avocados, grapeseed oil, olive oil, some coconut, not a ton, some of the other nuts and seeds, such as like cashew, almond, pistachio, and some, probably less than 10% of the saturated animal fats. So that's butter, ghee, any pork, chicken, red meat fats from, so I just read the Zoom group chat and Shay just said everyone poops. So for another really huge helpful anti-inflammatory fats is from fish, cold water fatty fish. So that's your salmon, that's your cod, and the smaller oily fish. So herring and mackerel and anchovies and other fishes packed in olive oil. There's like tuna fish packed in olive oil that are very simple, easy you can pick up in the store and crack it open and put it over veggies. It's that simple. So very easy meals that you can put together that are helpful, that may not require even cooking, that I'd like, that I tell my patients to focus on. One of the big points that I also want to make sure that I hit is to get rid of the sugar and a lot of the starches, because if you are eating a lot of starches in general, it's going to turn into sugar if you're not burning it off. So if, one of the pillars of health is exercise, right? Moving your body every day. So if you're moving your body every day strenuously, you're building muscle, you're strength training, you're lifting weights. You can do all of these things at home. Yeah, sure. Get some starches on board. But a lot of my patients don't do that. And it's like pulling teeth, trying to get them to move. So it's easier to avoid a lot of the starches and sugars versus and slowly add on that exercise, then sometimes allowing a little extra freedom in dietary protocols. So you'll hate me at first, but then you'll learn to love me. And then the last thing, but not least, is hydration. And especially in the desert, it is, and right now in the desert, it is crucial to have enough fluids going in you every single day. And I'd say anywhere between 80 to 100 ounces a day. So it seems like a lot of liquid for most people. But when it's, 105 outside, and you're trying to exercise and you're trying to get outside, you're trying to get your vitamin D, you're going to also lose a lot of liquid, and you're going to lose a lot of hydration. And that does not help with your digestive system trying to have a regular bowel movement every single day. So making sure that you have adequate hydration is crucial. And one of the other things that I also want to throw in, please try not to drink out of plastic bottles. So if you have any, like a big like glass bottle, or a hydro flask, or something that like an insulated type of a water bottle, like Shay, there you go, and Rosemary, and Allison, hi Allison. It is super crucial to do your best to avoid the plastics. One, it's better for the planet, and two, plastic can leach into your water, and that plastic that leaches into your water has an estrogen-like effect. And when we're talking about estrogen receptor positive cancers, this is a big deal, and you really want to avoid exacerbating those inflammatory receptors. Okay. Next. Oh my goodness. Okay, so here, I was gonna hopefully, well, if the screen share worked, I would say screenshot this, but what we can do is we can put this on the blog, and so that you'll have, this is my typical breakfast green smoothie that I recommend for my patients. It's super easy to do. I do that every single day. This is my empty one. And I throw everything in there. It's mostly greens. Some fruits, mostly like a little bit of organic blueberries. I switch up my protein powders, so I rotate. So I rotate between whey, pumpkin, and a vegan non-soy type of a protein. And so I get about 20 grams of protein in my shake every day. I add in an extra scoop of greens powder. So it's basically just desiccated greens. So you're getting extra minerals, extra electrolytes, extra vitamins. And then like a couple large handfuls of organic baby greens. I also throw in either like celery, or if I have like a leftover half a carrot or something like that, I throw that into whatever's in the vegetable drawer. And then for my healthy fats, I throw in some MCT oil, or some either chia seeds or flax seeds or sesame seeds. Recently, I've been throwing in like a scoopful of cashew butter as well. Like the good cashew butter, the ones that have like the oil on top, and you have to like mix everything in, you know, not the jiffies, okay. And then typically cinnamon. I just kind of like toss in some cinnamon, sometimes turmeric, sometimes ginger, kind of whatever is in my pantry and whatever I feel like. And then I also throw in all of my supplements as well. I'm not a really great pill taker, so I like to have most of my supplements in powder and or liquid form, so I can throw everything into the smoothie and just take it all down. And I had a NutriBullet type of a mixer for years until it died. And then I upgraded to a Vitamix, and anything in between works. Like whatever you have and whatever can break down vegetables into like tiny little pieces, like anything will work. So that's my typical throw everything all in one meal. Okay. I also have, for people who are interested, I did like a video on a tutorial on how to make a green smoothie. It's on my Instagram page on the IGTV. So my Instagram's at Live Well Clinic. You can go there, go to the IGTV video and click on it, and there's a live demo of how to make a green smoothie. And my last slide, you are what you eat, so don't be fast, cheap, easy, or fake. All right, so this is time for questions.
Do you want to unmute?
I can unmute people. Let's see. How do I unmute?
I think a little bit. Some of you will have to unmute yourselves, and some of you I can do. Thank you, Sonia. I've got a whole bunch of questions, but I'll let everyone else go first.
Okay. Let me switch my video back to front. There we go. All right. Woo! Okay. Hello. Okay. Did everyone? Let's see. Is everyone unmuted? Unmute. Unmute. Hold on.
How do you unmute?
Yeah, you're unmuted.
Unmuted? Okay.
All right. Whoever wants to take a stab at the first question.
I'll go ahead if okay.
Okay. Hi.
Great job. Thank you so much. That was very informative. Thank you.
You're very
So you mentioned my breast cancer was estrogen positive, and you mentioned plastic bottles, and I appreciate that. I don't know that I'd heard that before, and I do avoid them anyway. But now and again, you're in a situation, you know, where you grab it. But what about when you're purchasing, let's say, a pre-made smoothie, which I know are, you know, not great anyway and have a higher sugar content, but let's say an all fruit smoothie or coconut water, something like that, that's also in plastic. Is that the same as a water bottle in plastic?
Yeah, I think, well, for like the fresh smoothies and things like that, it's probably okay because it's cold and it's like made right there. It's not being transported in the water bottle or in a plastic bottle. But for like the coconut waters, I think that might be similar because it's being transported in the plastic, and you don't know if it's when they're transporting it out here, if it's a refrigerated truck or if it's just a regular truck where it's, you know, you're on the highway for, you know, however many hours in, you know, the 100-something degree heat.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah, so just be careful about that. If you're doing any like pre-made smoothies, you can get some pre-made smoothies that are more green than fruit. So I would definitely try to switch up the content of the smoothie. My general reference is like 3 servings of vegetables to 1 serving.
And just real quick, what do you think about bananas in smoothies?
Yeah, so I try to make sure that that the smoothies are as low in sugar as possible. But if you want to throw in like half a banana or something like that once in a while, that's fine. But usually the tropical fruits are on the higher glycemic scale end, and then the berries are on the lowest end. So I usually stick with the low glycemic fruits versus the high glycemic fruits.
Okay,
But
great.
once in a while is totally fine.
I've been doing a banana every day in mine. So thank you.
Switch it up.
Yeah. Thanks.
Sonia,
Yeah.
I've had a lifetime battle with constipation, and I always have to take something so that I can do what you said every day. So I take like a stool softener. It's probably made out of vegetables or something, you know, over the counter type thing. But I have a real problem with that. If I don't watch it, like you said, you go twice a week, you know, so I have to really, really pay attention to that. And I drink lots of water. I eat really well. You know, I cook and I eat vegetables and, you know, all the things that are supposed to help you go. No. Any suggestions?
I'm going to just do generalities because I'm not gonna be giving like treatment suggestions.
Yeah.
This is not the forum for that.
Okay.
So in general, you can try to see if some of the, maybe your mineral content might be off, like maybe magnesium might be off. A lot of people, including myself, need a lot of magnesium every day. So I've discovered for myself that if I don't take enough magnesium, I get really bad like stress headaches. So my muscles get super tight and then I get a migraine.
Yeah.
So I need like over 1,000 milligrams of magnesium every day. So that's a lot of magnesium.
Yeah.
But that's
Can
what
that
I
be
need to prevent myself from getting migraines. And I'm like, I will do that. Absolutely. I would rather not have a migraine. Thank you.
Can that be detected with a blood test?
It can, yes. And
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely do that. Any other questions, anybody else?
What do you think about the FODMAP diet?
Yeah, so FODMAPs, typically associated with SIBO, S-I-B-O. That stands for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. That is a very specific gut disorder that you can actually test for. It's a breath test, and you can see whether or not you have overgrowth of either methane or hydrogen producing bacteria in your small intestines. That can definitely, if you do have an overgrowth of methane producing bacteria, that can also create a constipation type of a syndrome and a lot of gas and bloating. So that's something that you can test for as well. And low FODMAPs or FODMAPs diet is a diet that reduces the amount of soluble fiber in your diet so that the bacteria can't eat it and you can just excrete it versus eating it as food and then creating that bloating and gas. Anything else?
I have a couple questions. If no
Okay.
one else does.
There's one in the chat from Nathan. What about a probiotic?
Yeah, what about a probiotic? What do you think of those? Actually, I had that same question. So wonderful, Nathan.
Great. So what about probiotics? Not for everyone, and you can get very specific nowadays about what types of probiotics and strains that you need by doing stool testing. So they're getting much more sophisticated now with the stool testing. And for some people, like I do a couple different types of stool testing to see what specific types of strains that they need. Because if you're a SIBO patient and you already have bacterial like intestinal or bacterial overgrowth in your small intestines, and you put more bacteria in your small intestines, it's just going to make things a lot worse. So it could either make your diarrhea a lot worse or your constipation a lot worse, your bloating a lot worse. If you are not that situation, then it's not good, but you need to figure out what your gut situation is, and be more specific about the strains, and that would help streamline your treatment protocol a lot more.
Awesome. You mentioned something about sugar, getting rid of the sugar, especially if you're not really super active and stuff. I wondered if you could define sugar, because sometimes I think is literal. So I think like fruits and vegetables too. And I know that probably there's some that are higher, like the banana, but with a banana, you know, the ones that are more ripe have more sugar, and the ones that, could you define like what are some really like, what are we talking about when you're talking sugar? What's good to eat and what's not? Because we also want to have a balance. Like not all of us can not just eat sugar.
Right.
I can't.
Well, and I think it's more when I'm talking about avoiding, you know, sugars and carbs and things like that and starches, it's not forever. It's until we can get, until you heal and restore your gut lining. And then you can loosen up a little bit, right? But you never want to get to a point where you're just like, you know, kind of binging on the sugar. So initially you're going to be strict, and then you can start to kind of loosen up and add things back in. So again, this is not a forever thing. It's not you don't have to avoid, you know, be 100% like super strict all the time. I think that's hard on a person, and it can make people crazy. so, um, so it's okay. Everything in moderation, right? So, so defining sugars. You can you can like look up the glycemic index chart, and that would be a helpful chart to refer back to, because then you'll see like, okay, it can break down like a, a ripe banana versus a more green banana, or white bread versus a 10 grain bread. So eat that'll give you a better reference for how much sugar you're intaking. Um, for me, it's a little, it's a little bit, I don't know. It's hard to say what is too much, like what is on too much sugar. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
We have a question from Nathan again, and it says, is there supplements that everyone should take because they are nearly impossible? They say it's nearly impossible to get with a balanced diet, everyone over 40.
I think also people under 40 as well. General supplements. Vitamin D, I think is number one. Vitamin D, D as in dog. I would say make sure that you are at least in the normal range. I like to have patients in a slightly higher than normal range, so between 50 and 80 is where I like my patients. That's my optimal range. But anybody above, like, I think the normal range is anybody between 30 and 100. So the range is really large. So I want people between 50 and 80, but at least be above 30. And you'd be surprised how many people in the desert are under 20.
Under what?
20.
Are under 20. Like that's way, way, way too low.
Who was?
You and I.
You can get a blood test and get it checked. See where your levels are at. So that's my number one is vitamin D. And then just making sure, I think for me, making sure you're eating enough leafy greens. So you're getting enough fiber, you're getting enough overall vitamins, especially your B vitamins and your folate through your leafy greens. Folate, not folic acid, folate.
When you say B vitamins, what, like B what?
There's a range of B vitamins.
Oh,
So there's B12, there's 6, B5, B1, B3, B7.
okay.
There's a lot of
Okay.
Yeah. But if you're eating a lot of like organic green leafies, you're gonna be getting most of your B vitamins
Okay.
and fiber.
So about fiber,
Yes.
Dr. Fung, what are your thoughts about psyllium?
For most people, if they can tolerate psyllium, we're talking about like some people who have a super sensitive gut, and or SIBO patients, psyllium might not be the best type of fiber for them, but most people can tolerate it. I would stay away from like the other like fibers that might have like some of the Metamucils have like fake sugars in them.
Oh, wow. The sugar
So
content in those are.
yeah, so just make sure you're checking the labels so that you don't have any like hidden weird things in there. Yeah.
Now, speaking of sugar, what do you think about agave syrup as a replacement? Because I've read that it tends to be a lower glycemic index. You think it's a superior sweetener if you venture into the sweet realm of the taste buds?
Um, yeah, I mean, it's still sugar. So, you know, like people ask me about like, oh, what about raw honey? Yeah, it's fine, but it's still sugar, so you can in moderation, right? And in small amounts. You can definitely do that. Do I think it is better than, raw sugar or whatnot? Maybe, but it's kind of all the same to me. Like brown rice syrup and the Lohan sugars and the agave and the honeys and it's pretty much all the same.
Coconut sugar? I've been using it for baking now that I've done a little more since we're at home.
Yeah, it's
Still sugar.
the same thing.
Okay.
We've got two other questions.
Yes.
What do you think about stevia, monk fruit?
Yeah.
Okay. Monk fruit, same thing. It's still it's just a different sugar. It's dehydrated monk fruit. It's just another processed sugar. Stevia, yeah, I know, right? I personally don't like monk fruit sugar. I know they allow it on like some like keto diets and things like that, but I don't like the taste of it. I think it tastes fake. And I think it tastes artificial. Stevia, it's not a sugar. It is a herb. It's a sweet herb. But because it's an herb, you only need like this much of it. It's the tiniest bit to get it out to give it that sweetness. You don't need much. If you do too much, it turns into bitter. And it also has a funny aftertaste. And I don't personally like stevia. I don't like how it tastes. But each their own, right?
One other question, Dr. Fung. We all know that it's important to eat organic, but what if you can't afford to eat all organic? What are the things that you say, maybe it's the dirty dozen, I know because I have a little research on it, but what are the things that you say that we definitely should stick with organic if at all possible and we can afford it?
Yeah, I think you answered the question. The dirty dozen. Make sure that of those 12 things, that those are the ones that you want to eat organic. With everything else, like if you can peel it or if you can wash it really, really well. I do that for my organic fruits and veggies anyway. I mean, I don't buy all organic either. So I just make sure that I wash it really, really good. Soap and water, you can do salt water, scrubs to get rid of a lot of the residue from pesticides. Even like they do have organic pesticides. So yeah, that's the thing. So you still have to wash them really well anyway, and just be mindful of that.
Awesome. Does anyone have any other questions? 30 dozen.
Yes, thank you.
Found on the environmental work group site.
Yes.
Thank you, Allison.
We'll post that in the blog as well, on the Shays Warriors blog, to make sure that you have tonight's information on the smoothie. And then that is, we might even add that on to Shays Warriors that might be a great resource
I think it's on the website, isn't it? The environmental work group. I think it is.
I
Yeah,
think it is.
it's
I
already
think,
there.
I
On
think
there.
it was on there when we talked about the skincare.
Yeah. So thank you, Dr. Fung, so much. I give her a round here. And then with further ado, I have a great mug that I put everyone's name in, except for us who are board members. And tonight, one of Shay's Warriors things that we do is every month at the end of the month, we're giving away a tea. And we have the Living in Hope colored t-shirt and the color of the rainbow. And so this month is Survivors Month. And so we're giving away your choice of a t-shirt. We have the pink, and then we have yellow and orange and blue. So I'm gonna pull somebody's name out for tonight. Oops. That person's name just popped out. And the winner is
Christine!
And, you'll just need to email me your size, and we have pink, we have yellow,
Ooh.
we have orange,
Oh.
we
Ooh.
have beautiful blue, we have green,
Oh, wow. My
and we
husband says one of each.
have black.
Black, yay.
So one thing that you guys don't know of is all of these, Shays always has, that's one of our fundraisers that we do that gives back to all the survivors. 100% of those proceeds go back to survivors like yourself for a surprise. We've got some cool stuff that we're gonna launch next month, so stay tuned on that. But the Living in Hope color teas also have a significant meaning, and we did it on purpose. So black was last month, and that's skin cancer. Pink is breast cancer. Every color of the rainbow is also the different color of cancer for the month. So this month, you get your pick of whatever one you want. And like I said, just email what you want, and I'll make sure to get that in the mail to you here in the next couple of days. And just thank you for sharing this. Thank you for listening to us. Allison from Lucy Kersey, thank you for being here. You guys know we have a breast group at 12 o'clock every week. So if you can join in on that too, that's awesome. We're creating community, and we're creating resources, and when we share and we listen, we all help each other together, no matter what side of the spectrum you're on, whether it's Eastern or Western medicine, it all comes together, and it all links together. So thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, give us an email. We'll get back to you, and have an awesome evening.
Night.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. It was wonderful.
Seeing you guys.
You didn't say that.
I just
Unmute
did.
yourself.
I did. How do I log off?
Marsha.
Bye.
Bye. Sonia. Bye. Margie.
Oh, you're so noisy. You're so noisy.
Is that your doggy, Rosemary?
That is.
Aw.
Did you see him?
Oh, I saw him earlier.
He's a talker.
What's going on?
How do I do this?
He's trying to get me to feed him.
Oh.
I got it. I got it.
Bye-bye, you guys. Thank you, Sonia. That was really great.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. I'm like, where did Shay go?
I know.
I think she just popped up.
I think she's already gone.
There were a couple people, I'm like, I'm just going to kick them off.
So
Anyway,
she said that she wanted to get together maybe a little bit on Friday.
on Friday?
Come on.
What time on Friday?
Well, I'm pretty flexible, I think, at this point. So you're the one who works the most, so
Okay.
try to abide by that.
Oh, I think I said after 4.
After 4? Okay. Friday
Yeah.
evening. Yeah, I think I'm good.
I don't know if she replied back though.
Yeah. I think I'm good with, you just name the time, I'll be there. Because I have a topic I think